Hello everyone, Celeste Pandhi here from Sotheby's International Realty, and I am here today with Richard Barenblatt, and we're with GuardHill Mortgage, and he's going to talk to us a little bit today about what makes GuardHill different and how Richard can potentially be of support to you in the future. So thank you first off for meeting with me today and giving me your time to be able to chat a little bit about your space within like the lending arena. So now I'll throw in real quick that Richard's been a great resource to me and my team as well. So firsthand, we've had the pleasure of working with you. But tell us, how long have you been in the mortgage lending industry, and a little bit about yourself, about GuardHill?
Well, thank you so much. It's an absolute pleasure working with you. Whenever I see a message from you or hear you on the phone, I always think sunshine.
Oh, thank you.
So I'm originally from Cape Town in South Africa, and I've lived in various countries. I've lived in the UK, I've lived in Hong Kong, spent time in the Channel Islands, then in Atlanta. And I came to New York City, and I fell in love with New York, and I haven't left. And I've worked in financial services most of my career, and I decided to become a mortgage banker. And I've been arranging mortgages for around 24 years now.
Okay, wow.
And I chose to work, and this is what is important for your listeners to hear. I chose to work for an independent firm as opposed to a bank. Because at a company like GuardHill, that is independent, that's been in existence for 30 plus years, and we're one of the few privately owned mortgage companies. We can offer a home buyer or somebody who's looking to refinance their mortgage such a wider range of solutions than if that borrower just worked with one bank. Because a retail bank can only offer their products and their services. Whereas coming to someone like me, one stop, multiple solutions. I can go to retail banks, I can go to federal credit unions, I can go to private lenders. I can cater to foreign nationals, retired people.
That's a big one right there, foreign
nationals. We'll
get
back to foreign nationals in a minute. But just in terms of encompassing what GuardHill as a platform can provide, I don't plan on ever going to work for a retail bank, only because I like to be creative, I like to find solutions, and working at GuardHill, it's very seldom that I cannot find a solution.
That's amazing.
So again, foreign nationals, retired, a trust fund beneficiary who doesn't show much money on their tax returns, someone who's self-employed who writes off a lot of expenses, just somebody who has a regular job and a regular W-2. We do the easy deals as well. But people tend to think of me, and they tend to think of GuardHill as a go-to to find a solution.
I mean, I definitely do. I hate to say you're the one that I bring all my tough stuff to, but that probably is the case because you know, being at Sotheby's, and of course International is our middle name, so the foreign aspect and being able to help foreign nationals is huge. And that's how I know you and I originally got connected, because I went, wait a second, people are being told that they can't get a mortgage and from, you know, other lenders, and I'm like, is that really possible? Like that doesn't make sense. There has to be a solution. And then Richard's been able to step in and assist us with that. So
that's great. Thank you very much for saying that. So with respect to foreign nationals, that's really my sweet spot. As I mentioned earlier, I'm from South Africa. I've lived in various countries. I came to America. I went through the whole process of getting my work visa, building my credit, becoming a green card holder, and then ultimately becoming a citizen. So working with foreign nationals, I have a particular kinsmanship with somebody who's trying to solve where I have been, and I I'd like to come through for them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I think that's a really good point, and my family's been here for many generations, but my husband was actually born overseas and then came over as a baby, and so I probably have a little bit of a soft spot for that that kind of initial, like process of introducing someone not just to New York, but literally like to the U.S. and helping them get acclimated. And finding a home is, of course, a huge piece of helping them feel comfortable here and want to stay. So
Sure. So a big issue that foreign nationals have, those, when I say foreign nationals, I'm also referring to individuals who've recently arrived in America. They may have just started a job, but their issue is that they don't have credit.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we help. Although we don't arrange credit, based on our experience and our connections in the industry, I may refer a borrower who may be looking to buy 6 months down in the future. I would put them in touch with a credit specialist, someone who may be able to give the best guidance.
Yeah.
We may be able to utilize their overseas credit. Let's say somebody owned a home and they had a mortgage. We may be able to get an international credit report and build their credit that way.
Interesting.
So it's not just about getting a mortgage.
Yeah.
It's advisory.
Yeah.
It's client hand-holding. And that's one of the aspects of GuardHill that I like so much, is that, we're a small firm with a dynamite punch, and we provide a white glove boutique type service.
Yeah.
Because you, as the referral source, you always want me. You're hoping that I'm going to do a good job, and in turn, I'm going to make you look good.
Of course.
And that's how we partner, and that's how I get my referrals.
Yeah.
So, in terms of what is going on in the industry right now, I'm finding that there is an uptick in inquiries from foreign nationals.
Okay.
And that's encouraging, because for foreign nationals, it's typically an elective purchase. It's a second or a third home, and interest rates are higher today than what they were during the COVID pandemic, and there is some sticker shock. I think home buyers are starting to realize, well, which is harder? The rental market is so expensive now, and all that money you're putting into a rental is just being blown away.
You have nothing to show for it versus you have something to show if you're at least putting equity into your own home.
Sure.
So absolutely.
So I have a saying, which is, marry the property and date the mortgage. You can always redo the mortgage when interest rates come down again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's so it makes sense to me what you're saying in terms of the uptick with foreign nationals, because that's something that we've been seeing too. We handle a lot of relocation, my team, and people come over, we show them properties, they see what the rents are, and then they start to talk to us about buying. And I feel like those conversations are happening earlier and earlier compared to 5 years ago. That was not the case. So it's made for a great relationship with Richard and I chatting more than maybe I would have had the opportunity to in the past. And you're dealing a lot with first-time home buyers too. I mean, I know some of our referrals have been not just second home purchases, but also first-time home buyers came to New York, expanding in their careers, tons of potential, but like you said, don't have the credit history, don't have just the history in the U.S. and getting people, for those brokers out there, getting your clients in to talk to Richard early on for that guidance to prepare could mean like maybe even a sale down a year down the road. So
what that conversation would look like, speaking to someone planning on buying 6 to 12 months in advance, it's hard to have a conversation about interest rates because one doesn't know where rates will be in the future, but the conversation would be, so start building your credit, sign up for another credit card, make sure you don't spend more, make sure you don't utilize more than 30% of the limits on each credit card.
Okay. That's a good
If you're
tip.
planning on making a big purchase, be careful not to do that purchase no later than 4 to 6 months away from when you're buying,
Okay.
because you don't want to have too many inquiries on your credit. So this is the kind of guidance that I like to give my clients in preparing and really setting them up for success. Sometimes the borrowers say to me, "Oh, I've just paid off a late payment, or I've just paid off a judgment or a collection account." And it's intuitive, because when you paying off a collection account, it's recorded as you dealing with a derogatory event. I don't specialize in this space. A credit specialist could, but you're kind of doing things that you think you're trying to help yourself, but invariably you're hurting yourself. So these kind of conversations are very important to have at least 6 months before they start looking to buy.
Absolutely. No, that's huge. And I know that's given some of my clients comfort, just being able to have those dialogues in preparation, even though they know they're going to need to rent temporarily. So definitely don't hesitate to reach out and have Richard kind of do that initial what you should know in preparation for buying down the road too. I think that's huge.
We will have a detailed conversation. I want to add one more point about this. I've spoken about credit, but I want to also talk to you about the down payment, because when you buy, and if you're getting a gift from a family member, it would need to be documented. But if you receive a gift which is older than 2 months, then it does not need to be documented. Maybe a relative doesn't want to give paperwork to show they gave a gift. Maybe in different cultures it's very confidential, which I respect. But if they receive that gift more than 2 months before they start buying, then there's no need to document it. So that's important. We will talk about where is the source of the down payment coming from, how much liquidity you plan on having available when you buy a property, so we can be well prepared.
Awesome. And very similar to when you're purchasing in a co-op, co-ops tend to go back, they could be up to 3 months. That's what I've seen as the norm. Some may only ask for a month or 2 months of bank statements, but some go back to even 3 months. So that the gift scenario comes into play in multiple factors there, just to make sure, like you said, some privacy can be a very big thing. It doesn't mean that it's necessarily anything bad that's taking place, but sometimes people, if you have multiple children, I think about that with myself, you want to be able to just be private to not cause even potential family rift. So and now let me ask you, what can you say kind of on a big level, or like a macro level, in terms of like what's going on in the lending market with interest rates? Any predictions or anything that you're able to kind of share at this point?
What I will share is that I don't know the future. The financial markets are so unpredictable now.
Of course.
I can only repeat what I've read in the newspapers, and I read the Wall Street Journal every day, and the Fed paused on a rate hike. They're expecting to have another one. I think what really has happened is that the market and the public have come to terms with the fact that we're heading to a recession, we're already in a recession, and hey, we're still standing. So interest rates are higher than what they were during the pandemic. You're not going to get a 1 or 2% interest rate anymore, and this is the new normal. And it's time to dust it off and move on with your life. Buy a place, build equity, and just live. And not live in fear. But if you're going to wait, what does wait look like? Wait means that every month you're making another rent payment. And every month, like you said, Celeste, none of that payment goes towards anything. And America is one of the few countries that offer a tax deduction on the interest portion of your mortgage. I'm not here, I'm not qualified to give tax advice, but it is widely known that you do get a tax deduction on your mortgage.
Of course, yeah. Well, and that's good to know, because I don't think I realized that that was so uncommon other places. So that's actually a great tip for me to be aware of as well. And as agents, we also just encourage people to talk to their CPA. We're happy to give a referral to a CPA to get that tax guidance, of course, too. But yeah, there's lots of benefits to being a homeowner. And of course, being in control of, your residence, your destiny, all of that.
So you really are the choreographer of the transaction. The client comes to you, you refer the mortgage person, the attorney.
Yeah.
And when I receive a referral, I always say to them, especially someone who is planning the next few months to buy, I'll say to them, just like you are auditioning me to be your mortgage person, and the guidance I'm giving you today, you should also ask Celeste to introduce you to an attorney and an accountant. So they will educate you in that aspect of the transaction.
Absolutely. That's a big part of what we do as a team whenever we're working with the buyer and with the seller in different respects, making sure that it's not just about the real estate agent. We have to have the whole team put into place. We have to have, like you said, the attorney. They need to make sure they're speaking to their CPA about, are they buying in an LLC? How are they approaching this process? They need to make sure they have a lender. They need to make sure they have a contractor, if that's applicable. All of those factors. So this way, everybody is super prepared. They've screened, they've vetted, they know who they feel comfortable with, and then when we see the apartment that you like, we're able to move quickly and be competitive with it. So that's definitely a big piece. You're right. I'm going to steal that choreographer line because that's a good one. Yeah.
All the right actors, so to speak.
Absolutely.
And then when the curtains open, it's a beautiful apartment and someone owns a beautiful home.
Absolutely. With my dancing, my ice dancing background, for those people out there that know that too, the choreography thing really kind of sits with me well. So, and then the last question I wanted to ask you, which many of you will know is my favorite. Where's your favorite place in all of New York City, or your favorite thing to do in all of New York City?
Well, that's easy. I live in the West Village. And a restaurant that, I don't know how people come up with this, but a restaurant that was voted the best bar in the world.
Okay.
It's called Dante
Okay.
in the West Village.
Okay.
And if you like a Negroni, that's the place to go.
All right.
That's my favorite.
Awesome. So a shout out to Dante in the West Village. I'm going to have to check that out and put that on my list for when Jimmy and I get to have a date night at some point. And that's great. The West Village is a very special spot. I'll be spending some time down there actually this weekend. So awesome. Great.
Thank you, Celeste.
Well, thank you very much. For those of you that have any questions, we'll be putting all of Richard's details below. But Richard Barenblatt from GuardHill, and happy to chat with you in advance and help prepare you for that big purchase to be able to get you a home. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.